The living room was filled with the typical banter of the Johnston family. Everything felt comfortable and familiar because of the lamp's warm radiance. Jonah and Alex were fighting over a video game while Amber and Trent were enjoying their evening tea on the couch. Emma had just read something that made her giggle, and Elizabeth was browsing through her phone before Anna cleared her throat. The night was typical. All evening she had remained silent, her heart racing as she searched for the ideal opportunity to speak. However, the ideal moment would never come. She inhaled deeply before saying it. Want to share something important with everyone. There was silence in the room. Everybody looked at Anna. Even though her hands were perspiring, she made herself glance up and meet their eyes. Nothing could prepare her for the weight of actually pronouncing the words. Even though she had pictured this moment 100 times, I'm expecting a child. Time appeared to stop for a second. Amber stopped just short of her lips. Her brain fumbled to grasp the words as her eyes widened. Hey everyone, hope you are well. Please do subscribe. Give this video thumbs. The living room was filled with the typical banter of the Johnston family. Everything felt comfortable and familiar because of the lamp's warm radiance. Jonah and Alex were fighting over a video game while Amber and Trent were enjoying their evening tea on the couch. Emma had just read something that made her giggle, and Elizabeth was browsing through her phone before Anna cleared her throat. The night was typical. All evening she had remained silent, her heart racing as she searched for the ideal opportunity to speak. However, the ideal moment would never come. She inhaled deeply before saying it. Want to share something important with everyone. There was silence in the room. Everybody looked at Anna. Even though her hands were perspiring, she made herself glance up and meet their eyes. Nothing could prepare her for the weight of actually pronouncing the words. Even though she had pictured this moment 100 times, I'm expecting a child. Time appeared to stop for a second. Amber stopped just short of her lips. Her brain fumbled to grasp the words as her eyes widened. Hey everyone, hope you are well. Please do subscribe. Give this video thumbs up. She got up and paced the room, her face displaying a range of emotions including love, shock, worry, and bewilderment. At last she said, Anna, in a calmer tone, are you serious? Anna gave a nod. Yes mother, yes. Amber let out a long breath and combed her hair. Whoa, all right, simply need a moment. Jonah shook his head and whistled slowly. Must admit that did not anticipate this. Emma's first astonishment was soon replaced by enthusiasm. She almost jumped about in her chair. Wow, this is really big. Still wide-eyed, Alex said, the biggest news ever. Literally, at last Elizabeth was able to speak. Anna, how are you? How do you feel about all of this? Really? Anna had a flurry of feelings, including relief at finally expressing it out, anxiety over her family's reaction, and a strong sense of conviction about her decision. She said, no, it's a lot to take in, and believe me, I've given this a lot of consideration, even though no, it won't be simple. I'm prepared. Amber paused her pacing and gave her daughter her complete attention. Now her face had softened. Anna, just want to make sure you know what this means. Everything changes with a baby. Anna's voice was firm as she answered, no mom. Additionally, I'm aware that won't have to work alone on this. Your mind have you all? With a sigh, Trent shook his head and grinned a little. You're correct about it, though regardless, we are family. That implies that we have your back. As her father talked, Anna felt a burden leave her chest. Then Emma squealed, all of a sudden, we must begin organizing a baby shower. Jonah grinned, you have a party planned already? It was only 5 minutes ago that she informed us. That's because this news is huge. Emma roared, immediately generating thoughts. At last Elizabeth relaxed and laughed. All right, but this is going to be a huge adjustment. Anna, we will all be here to support you. After a little period of silence, Amber approached Anna and embraced her tightly. Anna's eyes filled with tears as she felt the warmth of the embrace. She was unaware of the extent of her desire for that assurance. Amber whispered, this baby is going to be so loved, and we're here for you at every turn. The rest of the family gathered around Anna and gave her a group hug. One by one, the initial shock, the stress, and the uncertainty were all still present, but they were combined with something more love, something more powerful. However, there is a family history of dementia for Trent Johnston, star of Little Johnstons. His mysterious ailment has caused fans to worry in the years to come. The TLC star might have the same illness as his father. In season 15, Trent has been chronicling his health issues. He has shared the symptoms he has been experiencing recently with his family because of his cerebral condition. The reality TV star has been concerned. Trent observed that the size of his brain has been decreasing to that of a very elderly person. In an attempt to obtain the correct diagnosis, he has been seeing many physicians. The reality TV personality has yet to learn the true cause of his brain shrinkage. Fan, however, believe he might eventually get the same illness as his father. Why do they believe that? Is Trent exhibiting any early symptoms of dementia? 7. The doctors have just given Little Johnston star Trent Johnston some unfavorable health news. He now knows everything there is to know about his severe stigmatism. The TLC personality visited an ophthalmologist in a recent clip. Dr. Hinson therefore told Trent that he had a condition known as keratoconus. He told him about the cornea's irregularity, which might possibly make his eyeballs resemble a cone. According to Hilson, the living room still hummed softly with the remnants of chatter after Anna's revelation. Jonah slumped back into his chair, video game controller dangling loosely in his hands, while Alex sat cross-legged on the floor, staring at Anna with wide eyes that mirrored the shock still lingering in the air. Amber's hand lingered on Anna's shoulder as she spoke softly. "We are going to make this work, Anna. Every step of the way." Anna nodded, her pulse still racing, her thoughts tumbling faster than words could form. She had expected hesitation, or even outright panic, but instead the family's embrace, both literal and figurative, gave her a sense of grounding she hadn't realized she needed. The soft glow from the lamp above bathed the room in warm, golden hues, making every familiar corner feel intimate, safe, and somehow sacred in that fleeting moment. Elizabeth finally set her phone aside, her brows knitted together as she studied Anna with measured curiosity. "Anna, are you sure you're ready for this? I mean, it's a big responsibility." Anna's lips pressed together, a mix of determination and uncertainty passing across her face. "I've thought about it," she said, her voice firm yet tender. "I know it won't be easy, but I'm not alone. I have all of you." Trent, who had been quietly sipping his tea, finally looked up. There was a gravity to his gaze that made Anna's chest tighten for a moment. "It's going to be a challenge," he admitted, "but challenges are what families are for. We handle them together." Emma bounced slightly in her chair, her enthusiasm undimmed by the weight of reality. "We need to start planning everything now. Decorations, themes, maybe even a gender reveal." Jonah groaned, rolling his eyes playfully. "Emma, give it a minute. She just told us she's expecting. We don't need to plan a festival yet." Yet even he couldn't suppress a grin creeping across his face as he watched Anna's relieved smile bloom across the room. The subtle tension melted into laughter, soft exclamations, and gentle teasing as the family transitioned from initial shock to a tentative excitement. Amber's voice, steady and comforting, carried above the murmur. "Anna, remember, it's okay to feel everything at once. Happiness, fear, uncertainty, they all belong here. You don't have to shoulder this alone." Anna's gaze swept the room, lingering on each familiar face, storing the memory of their expressions, their reactions, the warmth radiating from them. Each nod, each smile, each glimmer of pride or concern led onto her relief, reinforcing the reality that this moment, monumental as it was, would not be faced in solitude. Outside, the evening had deepened into night, shadows creeping softly along the walls, yet within the Johnston household, the light and laughter persisted. Trent leaned back, stretching slightly, a reflective look settling over his features. "You know, it's moments like these that remind me why family matters," he murmured. Anna, still standing near the couch, could feel the weight of his words in her chest, each syllable resonating with a promise of solidarity. Jonah, sensing a lull, spoke up. "We've got your back, Anna. Always, even if things get chaotic." The mention of chaos elicited a chorus of chuckles from the family, softening the lingering tension. Emma jumped in, unable to resist her natural exuberance. "So, we're having a baby shower, right? Because if we're not, I'm starting the decorations tomorrow." Alex groaned theatrically. "Emma, it's not even a week yet. Let's breathe before we start creating Pinterest boards." Laughter once again filled the room, merging with the soft hum of conversation, as Anna finally allowed herself to sink onto the couch, flanked by her mother and siblings. Her hands rested lightly on her belly, a tender smile playing across her lips as the reality of her announcement settled in. The family, for all its quirks, its bickering, its relentless teasing, was here, present, supportive, and somehow, in that moment, unstoppable. But amidst the joy, a flicker of worry lingered at the edge of Anna's mind. She remembered Trent's recent health concerns, the discussions they had overheard about his corneal irregularities, and the potential hereditary implications of neurological conditions that had affected his father. The shadow of uncertainty loomed quietly behind the laughter, a reminder that life, in its raw unpredictability, rarely came without challenges. Trent shifted in his seat, sensing the tension, and offered a reassuring smile. "Don't let my stuff worry you. We're focused on now. We've got the baby, we've got Anna, and we've got each other. That's what matters." His words, simple yet profound, reverberated through Anna's chest, calming the storm of thoughts and fears. Elizabeth reached over and clasped Anna's hand gently. We'll navigate every moment together. Every sleepless night, every first step, every milestone. You won't be alone for a single one. Anna nodded, her eyes misting with gratitude, the corners of her mouth trembling as she absorbed the weight of their commitment. Emma, never one to be subtle, leaned over and whispered loudly, and I'll make sure this baby has the most epic scrapbook ever, starting today. Jonah rolled his eyes again but smiled, recognizing the heart behind his sister's enthusiasm. The evening pressed on, each family member contributing to a mix of laughter, advice, gentle teasing, and heartfelt assurance. Anna's pacing slowed as she realized the depth of their support, her earlier anxiety fading into a cautious optimism. Amber's gaze softened, her voice carrying the warmth of years of experience. Remember, Anna, love will guide us through every step. And with all of us together, nothing is insurmountable. Outside, the wind rustled softly against the windows, but inside the Johnston home, the only sounds were the comforting murmur of family, the flicker of lamplight, and the gentle heartbeat of anticipation, marking the beginning of a new chapter. As the clock ticked onward, Anna allowed herself to lean into the embrace of those around her, absorbing their words, their laughter, and their unwavering presence. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, the fear that had gripped her heart was replaced by a resolute confidence. Whatever the future held, she would face it not alone, but together with the family she cherished most. And in that warm, illuminated living room, amidst the subtle chaos and familiar banter, a promise was silently made, one that would carry the Johnston family through the months ahead, the highs and lows of anticipation, and the countless milestones that awaited the newest member of their clan. The next morning, the Johnston household buzzed with renewed energy. Jonah had already begun jotting down potential names in his notebook, muttering under his breath about perfect combinations that start with J or A, while Alex had commandeered his tablet to research the latest baby gadgets and nursery trends. Amber floated around the kitchen, moving pots and mugs with practiced ease, but her attention never strayed far from Anna, who was quietly sipping a cup of tea at the counter. Trent, still concerned about his own health but committed to supporting Anna, sat nearby, tracing the rim of his coffee mug, lost in thought yet aware of every detail of the room. Emma darted from one corner to another, her excitement barely contained, occasionally glancing at the clock as if time itself were part of her frantic planning. Elizabeth, on the other hand, had taken a more measured approach, sitting at the dining table with a pad of paper, writing a list of practical considerations, appointments, baby-proofing, childcare options, and potential support schedules. Anna felt a swell of gratitude as she watched her family moving with purpose and love, each in their own way preparing for the enormous change about to enter their lives. Amber finally approached, placing a steady hand on Anna's shoulder. You know, you don't have to do anything alone. I'll be right here, helping, guiding, and supporting you through every little step. Anna's eyes shimmered with emotion, and she leaned briefly into her mother's comforting embrace, drawing strength from the warmth and unwavering assurance. Trent's voice broke the quiet hum of preparation, low and reflective. Anna, it's not just about this moment or the next few months. We're talking about years of guidance, lessons, and love. That baby is going to have the most solid foundation imaginable. Jonah's head popped up from his notebook, eyes sparkling with mischief. So, does that mean I get first dibs on being the fun uncle who sneaks candy? Emma groaned dramatically. Jonah, don't start already. We need to focus on names first, decorations second, candy bribing third. Alex, still focused on the tablet, finally looked up. Guys, I found some baby monitors that can connect to your phone, plus some smart cribs with soothing motions. Should I make a purchase list? Elizabeth chuckled softly, shaking her head. Let's not buy the entire store just yet, Alex. Step 1, organize our schedule. Step 2, plan essentials. Step 3, optional extras. Anna exhaled, a small laugh escaping her lips. Despite the whirlwind of energy and opinions, she felt the familiar grounding of family love anchoring her. Trent cleared his throat, drawing everyone's attention. there's another aspect we need to discuss. His eyes flickered with concern as he added, we have to consider health history, hereditary conditions, and long-term care options. Given some of my own recent health revelations, it's important we're proactive. Amber nodded solemnly, placing a reassuring hand over Trent's. We'll handle it together, step by step. Nothing is going to catch us unprepared. Emma, unable to restrain herself, jumped onto a chair, clapping her hands. Even if it's serious stuff, we're still celebrating. We have a baby on the way. People, decorations, colors, themes. Let's brainstorm right now. Jonah laughed, rubbing his temples. Emma, can we not decorate until the baby is born? Or at least until we know the gender? Elizabeth smirked. Oh, Jonah, you know you're secretly excited about this. Jonah shot her a sideways glance, grinning reluctantly. Outside, sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating the familiar living room that had just a day ago been filled with a mix of shock and laughter. Today, it carried the energy of hope, anticipation, and the comforting rhythm of family life moving in sync. Anna felt a flutter of excitement and apprehension alike, a reminder that the road ahead would not be easy but would be shared. Trent, finally setting down his mug, leaned closer to Anna, his tone softer yet deliberate. I know I've worried a lot about my health recently, but your announcement, it gives me perspective. Life is moving forward, and we get to be part of something beautiful. Anna smiled, squeezing his hand. Thank you. That means more than I can express. Amber chimed in. We'll make a plan for the months ahead, appointments, checkups, support systems. No detail is too small when it comes to family. Emma jumped again, almost dancing in place. And baby names. We need names. I've got a list of hundreds, and I'm not even done yet. Alex leaned back, tablet in hand. I think I have a list too. We can compile everything into a master chart. Names, gadgets, nursery themes. Efficiency, people. Jonah snorted, shaking his head with a smirk. This family's chaos is adorable. Let's just not overwhelm Anna before her tea gets cold. Elizabeth reached over and tapped Anna lightly on the shoulder. Balance. Anna. We'll go step by step, together. And I promise you, there will be laughter, support, and love every single step of the way. Anna felt a wave of relief, her earlier anxiety dissolving into cautious optimism. Her family had rallied around her. The initial shock transformed into collective determination, and the excitement of anticipating a new life blended seamlessly with the grounding presence of those she cherished most. As Amber fetched a fresh pot of tea and Emma continued her energetic planning, Anna allowed herself to sink into the couch, the soft cushions holding her gently. The Johnston family, in all its quirks, laughter, and love, surrounded her like an unbreakable shield, ready to face the coming months and the endless joys and challenges a new baby would bring. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, but inside the Johnston home, hearts beat in harmony and a new chapter began, marked by hope, resilience, and the undeniable strength of family bonds. As the days unfolded, the Johnston household shifted into a rhythm of preparation and anticipation. Morning light poured through the windows, highlighting the scattered toys, notebooks, and tablet screens as the family brainstormed names, nursery ideas, and organizational strategies. Anna found herself at the center of an orchestrated flurry of activity, yet a strange calmness had settled over her, an acceptance that, despite the chaos, she was surrounded by unwavering support. Trent continued his own journey of health management, attending appointments and consulting specialists, yet his concern never overshadowed his commitment to Anna and the baby. Amber, ever attentive, organized schedules for checkups, nutrition, and wellness, ensuring that Anna's health was prioritized alongside the family's excitement. Jonah, Alex, and Emma took turns balancing school, personal projects, and their enthusiasm for the baby, often breaking into playful arguments over color schemes, crib models, and the logistics of a gender reveal. Elizabeth, meticulous and analytical, created spreadsheets tracking appointments, baby supplies, and contingency plans for every possible scenario. She occasionally paused to reassure Anna with a gentle hand on her shoulder. We've got this. step by step, day by day. You're not alone in this. Anna's heart swelled with gratitude. The layers of support, laughter, and familial dedication had transformed what could have been a moment of anxiety into a shared celebration. Each family member brought a unique energy, balancing excitement